Okay, you're live.
Hello everyone, welcome to another webinar of PID, Parul Institute of Design. This is your host Ali Ahmed Sheikh. As we promised, we are back with another industry expert, and today we will be talking about design from space to structure, structure to interior, and much more. And to talk about that, we have a special guest with us. After he graduated as an architect with a gold medal, and later he went to pursue masters in architecture from Institute of Advanced Architecture of Catalonia, IIAC, Barcelona, Spain. He later honed design talent by garnering vast and varied experience apprenticing with some of the best design practices in the world, including MAD Architects, Beijing, China, RSP Architects, Dubai, ARUP, Singapore, and New Mumbai. Enriched by his diverse global exposure, he later returned to join his family firm, The Cross Boundaries. He takes up varied challenges in interior design, furniture, lighting, products and installations, crafting out spaces and styles, suiting contemporary needs and perceptions. The Cross Boundaries is a platform where they work in collaboration with artists, architects, designers, and graphic artists. He has also won a national award for a hair salon interior project named Cutting Edge, and continued receiving many more for his excellence. We have with us the man himself, Mr. Harsh Bogani. Hello Harsh, welcome to PID.
Hi Ali,
How are you?
thanks for the opportunity and I'm good. Yeah,
You're
thanks for the opportunity and I would like to thank Ali for the same.
most welcome. You're most welcome. Pleasure to have you on our show. So Harsh, let's talk about your journey. But before that, tell us, you are an architect and practicing interior designing, right? So how is interior design different from architecture? For our students, please go on.
Yeah, so basically I am an architect. I did my education in architecture and I do practice architecture as well, but still there are a couple of projects yet to come out. So basically architecture is more of a design of a space, design of buildings, whereas interiors is designing within those spaces, within those buildings, within those confined areas. So
Okay.
that's the main difference between architecture and interiors.
Okay. So now share about your education experience, and how did it affect your work from your masters to the journey till now?
So yeah, just to begin with, I did my bachelor's from SVIT, Wasid, and
Okay.
during my bachelor's, I didn't know that I would be having my own firm or operating as a designer after completing my bachelor's. So my journey was basically since childhood I was more into designing modeling. I used to make those small aircraft. I had like 200 different models of paper planes which was made when I was a child, and since then I was inclined towards architecture. So yeah, that was I think the turning point, and then after the journey was quite smooth.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was my journey which landed up into architecture.
Okay. So now, when you moved studied abroad at Barcelona, how was your experience studying there, and how did it help you now altogether learning more? Please share with our students.
So yeah. So basically, after completing my bachelor's, I went for my master's, which was in advanced and digital architecture, and it was in Barcelona, Spain, where we were like in bachelor's, we were spoon feeded with a lot of things. We had those textbooks which were we had those books, and there was something which was always missing, and that's what I learned during my masters, which was more of a hands-on practical experience. Like we used to actually work with robots, like design things using robotics. So that was a totally different dimension which came in when I went for my masters. And apart from that, we had people from different countries up there. So it was not only doing my masters, but also having the cultural experience which was shared between a lot of different countries and learning something out of the box from there.
Okay. So after that, you went for your interns and you worked with a lot of other global brands also, right? And different people and places. Why don't you get there now and talk about it in order? Let's start
Yeah,
with the Mad Architects that you.
yeah. So after I came back from my masters, I started applying at firms. I had a list of like 10, 15 firms where I always wanted to work, and luckily I did get an opportunity to work with Mad Architects, which was actually not a job, but I got an internship which I wanted to just take it because I had already completed my internship during my academics. So this was like an unofficial internship which I wanted to do just to work with Mad Architects. So
Okay.
yeah, the experience up there was totally different. Like in Mad, people were working madly. Like it was in China, Beijing. So whenever you go to the office, people are always working. Like it's a 24/7 office where you see a totally different work culture. Whereas when I did my job in Dubai, in RSP Dubai, it was totally different. It was like a corporate culture which differs from a proper design culture. So the idea behind doing or getting such experiences was to know what different firms are doing and what is the structure of a firm. So my basic idea was to come back to India and develop my own firm. And this was more of a learning experience which I had at Mad Architects.
Mhm.
And so as with the other firms, it was more
There
of
was
like a
RCP,
structural learning.
choose Dubai, yeah. Then you worked in Singapore also, right? Singapore and Nude in Mumbai. So, want to share that?
So yeah, so basically coming back to the Singapore and Mumbai internship, that was my bachelor's internship, which I was doing in my like in India itself. So I did my 4 month internship with Nude Architects, Nuru Karim, Mumbai. So that was when I had the inclination to work with Mad Architects. And in Nude, it was again more of like a interior oriented firm
Mhm.
where I learned a lot about designing small stuff. So the idea was at Nude, I was learning designing on a small scale industry, whereas when I went to Mad or when I went to RSP Dubai, it was more of a large scale design of buildings, or I was working on a project on the Palm Island known as the Kingdom of Sheba, which was the phase 3 which I was designing.
Okay.
That was like an urban design project which I was working on. So the idea was to get a hands-on experience on all the different fields and then start and establish my own firm. So the experience was really nice learning at different platforms altogether.
So when did you decide to do interior as in, or was it the interest from the beginning? What was it?
No, it wasn't from the beginning. It was just out of curiosity that I came back and I got a project from a couple of my school friends. So I started working on that project, and then I came to know like I could do better in interiors as well. Earlier, I was just interested in architecture, but then I started doing interiors, and right now I'm having like 70% of interior projects and just 30% of architecture projects for now. So it was like nothing decided, but it just came in as I started working on.
Okay. So after you finished your masters and you were back here, when was the cross boundaries that it all started?
So I came back I came back in 2015, and that was when I was offered, actually not offered, but it was a cafe which I had to design for a couple of my childhood friends. So I had grabbed that opportunity and told them not to give any other designers the opportunity to work on. So that was the start of my firm.
Okay.
And basically, 2015, yeah, by the end of 2015 was the time when I started with the Cross Boundaries. And I designed a health cafe named Freshco in Baroda itself. So
Okay.
that was for one of my friend, where I experimented a lot with them. So yeah, that was my first project.
But you tell me, you already did an intern before you went for your masters in India, okay? And after you did your masters abroad, you worked with few international global brands, and then you were back again to start up with your family firm. And so, how is the different, different work environment or work culture in the country compared to other places, or how was for it for you to be start back home again,
So as I told before, it was when I went for my masters, or when I worked with those global brands, it was more of like getting an experience of how those firms work, how the structure of those firms operate. And like if I go in a technical way, when I was working with MAD, it was very much software oriented, where they used to work with a very form making, a nice form making softwares. Whereas when I was working with RSP in Dubai, it was more of like a very structured, simple concrete and glass leak buildings. So that was what I was working on. So the idea was, I just wanted to grab all the type of practices which are there, and grab all the knowledge which I could get from them. And then the idea was actually to set up my own firm. So when I came back, I was very much clear that what I want to practice, and how I want to practice how I want my firm to be more experimental, or would I want my firm to be just a corporate basic design firm. So that was when I decided that I want to operate in a very experimental approach. And that was when I started my own firm. And yeah, you just mentioned about the family business. So basically, my dad, he's an architect, and he is practicing since last 35 years in Baroda. But the
you
thing
know?
is, he was just practicing architecture, and he had attained that level in architecture. But I wanted to come back and spread the wings in a firm where now we are practicing interior design, and we are even entering into product designing. So that's where we expand the business, and that's what my basic approach was when I would come back and operate my firm in India.
So tell me, Harsh, you were very firm about, when you came back, what you wanted to do. But according to you, how important is it for a designer to develop his or her own language or philosophy for a design, to start up? Or is it?
Uh, yeah. So uh, I would say it's not easy to develop your own design sense initially. It would take time. So experience is the way to know what your design style is, or what your design concept is, or what your design philosophy is. So basically, I would suggest all the freshers to just start off right now, and try to search their direction, because it's like a journey of 5 to 10 years when they'll know what is their design philosophy. It's not something which you just start off and you know what I want and what's my design philosophy. Even I took time to develop this design philosophy. So it would take time anyway. And just go with the flow. That's what I would say.
Mhm. Harsh, now tell me, how do you start the process of designing once you are handed over a project? Our students would like to know
Yeah.
the general process from the approach to completion. So please explain it.
So whenever we get a new project, it's more of like a client-oriented project initially,
Mhm.
where we start off the project by basic doodling, or basic massing, or basic modeling, as per the
Mhm.
requirements which are provided by the clients. but I mean, it's very client oriented approach initially, but slowly we try to develop our own sense of design. Like sometimes when we go at site, we already have a picture of what the space would look like and what we would like it to be looked upon once it's completed. So we have a very chaotic approach toward design, where we initially start off with basic doodling, and we initially start off listening to the clients and try to work towards their requirement, and then we try to frame it according to our design, and we try to place our own objective or our own strong design sense to it.
Okay. Harsh, tell me, this was the process that this is how you approach, but what are the challenges that you faced while establishing your independent design practice? I mean, you come from a family, you have already, your father is an architect, known architect, but still your challenges that you faced.
So I think me and all the designers up here and all the freshers who are going to practice in future, they'll be facing this thing of budget constraint, because budget is always a problem. So you always need to work within a strict, stringent budget. So that is always an issue which we faced. And the second one was a time bound issue. Like you are given a limited period of time to design a space. Like 3 दिन में हम लोग पे पूरा ऑफिस का इंटीरियर्स एक डिजाइन करके दो, और that kind of clients come in, which is like a very quick opportunity, but you need to grab that opportunity and work towards it. So those those are the two things which I feel I would mention.
Okay. What is that inspires you and your designs the most?
uh, Again, what inspires us basically is sometimes the site itself. Like if we are working on a site which is, say, 50 or 60-year-old site, the type of wall it has, the type of texture it has, so there are a lot of uh, such things which inspires us. Like sometimes it's the site, sometimes it's the client's story, sometimes it's the nature. So it depends on the type of project which we are working on. Like if we work on a residential project, sometimes a client comes in with a very interesting story that they have traveled across those different places, and they want the overall design to
Mhm,
be New York and loft style design. So we get inspired through it, we start searching about it, we start brainstorming about it. So uh,
mhm,
it's more of like client oriented again, which the
mhm.
inspiration depends on the project and the client for us.
Okay, Harsh, now let's talk about this the national award winning project, The Cutting Edge, that you worked on, the Unisex hair salon. You also collaborated with few artists. So you want to talk about that project?
So Ali, what I would like to do is, if I could just share my screen, it would be much easier to
Sure,
talk
sure.
about this project and couple of other projects.
Yes, sure. So our students and our audience will also get to see some visuals of your work along with your words. Please go ahead, Harsh.
So is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. Just a second, Ali. So yeah, so talking about the projects, basically I would just talk about the type of design which we are talking about. Like it's when we talk about design, it's not only architecture, it's not only interior design, or product or graphic or landscape sculpture. Design has a whole new language altogether. So when we talk about design, it has so many approaches, so many opportunities for us that when we started off practicing, we noticed that uh, what if we explore more of interior design by collaborating with a couple of artists. So this was one of our project where we this is it was named Cutting Edge. It was a unisex hair salon, and that was one of our first uh, retail project which we designed. And on the first project itself, we won the Triple ID National Award for the same, and couple of other awards followed after that. So basically, the idea of this, I won't go into much of planning details because it's related to design. So when we started off designing this project, we had a very strict budget constraint, and the space was limited, a very small space. So here, what we did was, uh, as per planning, we had a angular design plan, and we actually went into designing of products like a card holder, or we even designed the lighting fixture. So basically, when we talk about design, it's not just designing of a space. Sometimes we go into minute details like designing of the products, or designing of the lighting fixtures, or designing of a simple door handle. So like here the client didn't have budget, so we had to design the ceiling in a way. Those are simple raw basic electrical wires, but the way you lay it, it's something very important. So this was one of our project which got shortlisted, and there was an interesting story for this. Like when the client came in, he was like, I want something which is extremely different, and a salon which has not been copied yet. So what we told him was, just come with us. We took his own hands, we casted 6 postures of his hands, and we placed it as an artwork on the wall.
Okay.
So yeah, sorry. So it actually acts like a product design product, product design thing which is laid out in our interior. So here we display the products which are laid out by him at the salon. Like if he wants to sell a scissor, or if he wants to sell something. So this was one of the iconic feature which we designed when we came across with our first project. So yeah, this was cutting edge. And
Look,
should I just roll on with some more projects?
yeah. See, you were also awarded the runner-up for young practice in India by Indian Institute of Indian Interior Designers, Awakening by the Pool, residential penthouse interiors, right? So you can share about that as well, Harsh, if that is on the same
Yeah,
presentation.
definitely. Yeah. So just before that, I'll just talk about one more project which I just mentioned before. Like when I came back to India, this was my first project, Freshco the Health Cafe, and it's
Okay.
owned by a couple of my childhood friends. So initially, when I was given this project, again the same thing. We had budget constraint. We went to buy those lighting fixtures, and one lighting fixture was costing us like 6,000 rupees, which was a lot for them for say 20 lighting fixtures. So one single day, as you were talking about inspiration, so as I told, I get inspiration from anywhere and everywhere. So one single day I went to a friend's place and I saw this fish bowl, a terrarium. So I just thought, why not use this glass cubicle, glass sphere, and develop a lighting fixture out of it. And I just came back and sketched out a small lighting fixture where we used the big sphere of glass, a smaller sphere of glass inserted inside it, and then we had those LED bullet lights which we inserted in the table tennis ka ping pong ball, and we illuminated those balls.
Very good.
We did a stained glass paint over those small balls and inserted inserted a table tennis ka ball inside it. And initially, without the paint, it was like this. And when we added those colored balls inside it, it looked like this. And this was the lighting fixture which we ended up with. So i- in the end, sometimes we thought that the budget constraint also allowed us to design something which was unique. And this was what we came out with. Like, it's a very unique product which landed up at a cost of say 300 rupees a lighting fixture.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's Fresco. And uh, we even designed couple of wall art. Like, we use those uh, chai ka thermocol cups. So again, this was an idea which we got when during architecture we used to go to station at night and have a cup of tea. So that was when I thought, why not use those cup of thermocol cups and use it as a lighting fixture. And this is what we landed up with. And the same design language we designed for Fresco, which was the second branch in Surat,
Mhm.
where again we landed up designing the lighting fixtures, the electrical wires, and all the things. Also, some more products which we design, which are very low cost products. Like, my niece used to drink this sterile water bottles when she was born. And I collected all those plastic bottles, and I use those wire mesh to make the hands, the legs, and the M seal which you get on site. So we use those M seal in a way that you like sculpt the face, sculpt the hands, sculpt the legs.
Mhm.
And we derived such small human figures which were costing nothing in the end. And we started conceptualizing the same in our interiors. And in the
Mhm.
end, we did use one of it in one of our residential project. So that's how the overall interiors look like. That
Okay.
was an interior of a bedroom where we wanted to use those human sculptures. And we got those sculptures done at like say 2000 rupees cost. And some more wall art which we did, again collaborating with a sculpture artist, where here the client wanted a room where there he has his own music system, and he wanted a mural with the beats. So
Okay.
what we did was we made a three-dimensional artwork, and we modeled all the faces out of clay. We modeled the faces in clay and cast it in POP, and we came out with the fiber mold and made this art mural for his room, where it was inspired for the musical beats.
So
Even
this is your,
handles. So
is
sorry.
this your awaiting my pool?
No, we are just coming to that project. Actually, there were a couple of other sculptures or product
Please
designs
go on
which
to
I
the
have kept
slides
in
also.
mind.
They are very interesting. Please share all of them with us students. Continue with the same.
Sure. So basically, the message which I want to put in is, being an interior designer, it's not something that I can't be working as a product designer, or I can't be working as a sculpture artist. Everything is interconnected. Design as a whole has a lot of opportunities. Like here, we even, it was for a cafe named Salary Republic, where we designed the handle in a way that it's a fork. So basically, we went into small scale designing of handles as well. We designed the wall art, we designed the botany, what I would say is the green landscape which you use in interior. So even the botany design is very important when it comes to interior designing, or say any design. So this was my project, Awakening by the Pool, where
Okay.
we were awarded the runner-up for the
Indian
runner-up for
Institute of
Triple
Interior
India,
Design.
and we were awarded yeah,
Hmm.
and we were awarded the best residential apartment for future of architecture and interior designers. So this was a project where we have not used a single tile, we have not used a single foam, false ceiling in the overall house. We have not used a wallpaper. We haven't used any wall paints except 30% paint of white. So it was very basic structure where we have kept all the services exposed. Like you see those pipes running, you see. So this client had an idea where we got inspired by a story that he wanted a New York styled loft apartment. So
Okay.
we started designing in a way that even every single lighting fixture is custom made. So when you take out all the colors, it's bare. There is just concrete and bricks in the overall house. But when you put in those furniture, when you put in those sculptures, like here we designed a 6 feet long sculpture where we sculpted the overall human in a way that it stands out when there's a sunset. You see those shades of blue by the pool, and that's how we started making the armature. We did the clay modeling, we did the pop pouring, we did the tapping of resin, and that's where we landed up having a 6 feet tall fiber sculpture. So where we entered a phase of sculpture design along with a group of artists. So yeah,
Okay.
this is a very, so sometimes it's like when you do nothing, it's much more appropriate rather than designing too much. Here we haven't used a single, we haven't used more than one material in the overall house, and it's just the white laminate and the bare concrete. So still the washroom looks so elegant. So it depends on the type of work you get and the type of client. So that was one of our project. Yeah.
So this was the one
Uh,
where you were awarded runner-up,
there
right?
are a couple of, yeah, we even won the national award for the same project at Future of Architecture and Design, which is a competition where any architect who is under 35 years of age could participate.
Okay. Beautiful.
So there are a couple of such things where say jute is a very basic fiber. Jute, the kantan which we use and which we see daily, but we never use it. So we thought of using that material and explore that material. In a way, we used it as a signboard for one of our project. So you see this fresh house where we have used jute laid over ply, and that's our signboard for the overall space. That's one of our recent project named Modernist Coffee, where we designed the electrical lighting fixtures, the electrical switchboards. So every single detail over here has been designed. We sometimes even enter into landscape designing. So it's as I told, design has no restrictions. You can enter into any phase you like. We designed a product named Cyclotron, which is a lighting fixture in the cafe itself, where we have used those uh, वो medical bottle के glasses जो आते हैं, the bottles which you get the brown glass. So we use those brown glass to make a lighting fixture. So and it looks beautiful in the evening. A
Harsh,
lot
so
of
this is very
projects in
good.
the pipeline.
Sorry to interrupt you one sec, Harsh. Uh, you know, I'm sure you're aware the Parul Institute of Design has all of it. You know, we have interior design, we have product design, uh, furniture design is also part of interior itself. We also have fine art department, and architecture is part of Parul University. So, you know, this is a very good example. The way you're showing everything, all the products that you design, or the furniture, or everything that is done by your under one brand. So how all the artists are, you know, they can be collaborated or work together also. It's needed to you know, learn everyone's work so that you can put in or probably be inspired and, you know, use it in your projects. So I think you should talk more about it with the images that you were sharing. Please go ahead, Harsh.
Yeah, I think I'm almost done with the presentation, but I'll just go on with a couple of slides which are left. So talking about designing, we even work on projects which are of a bit larger scale. So it's not only interiors, but there are a couple of projects in the pipeline which are in collaboration with my dad. And I myself am trying to explore and experiment with a lot of stuffs up there. So I think we can talk about start. I mean, I can just stop sharing the screen because there are endless projects which are there which I would keep sharing. But I think we should just stop sharing this for now.
Okay, Harsh. So, you
Yeah.
you have had it all. Commercial, residential. You've got into retail designing also. You've also worked with your dad on the major mega projects also. So there is something that I've had in mind. Interior design by most is looked at as a statement of luxury and wealth in the society. Hence, most refrain from even approaching a designer in the fear of high cost involved. Is that true?
So I think it depends on the type of segment which we are talking about. So basically, if we talk about a certain segment where there are two phases when a person buys a flat or when a person buys a residence. Say first phase would be uh, he needs a flat which is like a 2 BHK bedroom flat, जिसमें there is a good balcony, good cross ventilation, good openings. So that is the first phase. And the second phase of the designing is interior design, where there are a lot of modular brands which have come up, like I would say Pepperfry, Urban Ladder, which caters to all the segments. So at certain point of time when people think that interior design is too expensive, which I feel it depends on the type of uh, wavelength which matches between the client and the interior design. Because at times it has been a case where we have saved like 4 lakhs of the overall budget when our overall design fee is just 3 lakhs. So it depends on the type of segment which we are talking about.
Okay, okay. So, Harsh, how do you suggest can these services reach the middle class and poor for the betterment of their, or the lifestyle, the better lifestyle that they also deserve?
Yeah, definitely. I think, as I told, there are a lot of modular furniture brands which have come up, and they are offering good furniture, and they do they do cater to the overall interiors of the space. Like right now, even a 1 BHK flat and a person goes to Pepperfry, they can make a full 3D model of this space and give it to them. So there are inbuilt modular forms which have their own interior designers in it. So there are opportunities for every segment, as I told. So even they could just go and have a look and buy the furniture from there.
Okay. So related to this, now I have another thing to ask. In this era of globalization, a customer has multiple options and vast resources to outsource their furniture, upholsteries, or artifacts, etc., like you said. So in such situation, what is the scope for a new edge or upcoming interior designer in your opinion?
Basically, I would just relate this to a movie. Say, whenever someone wants to make a movie, they need a director. Like only if we have a actor and an actress, it won't make a full movie. So basically,
Mhm.
uh, we are architects or interior designers are basically a director of the overall picture, and they have a clear picture of what the client wants as per the description by the client. So uh,
Mhm.
definitely there is a scope, and even with the globalization and even with all the different brands which are coming up, uh, we are always required to know where the right brand would place in, or where should we place the overall theme, or how do we work out the overall design language of a space.
Okay, so this is for our audience now. If anyone has any questions, please place them into the chat room so we can take them after the next segment and then he will answer your questions. Harsh, before we get into our next segment, this is the last question for you for this one. Uh, what do you think about the post pandemic? What is your forecast basically on design?
Related to design.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I think post pandemic, it's it's really a confusing situation right now. But what I feel is like work from home has been rising a lot nowadays, and people have started working in a manner that, like talking about the pandemic, I think it would continue, or people would be fear to go, have that fear to go out even right now. So I feel like work from home is something which would come up, and because of work from home, the design which had been done in a very compact manner, like we see a couple of new flats or schemes which have come up, which are very compact as a whole. But now the design would be more open, because people want a space where they could interact with nature. Like even just talking about us, we would like to go out in the balcony when we were locked down in our own home. So we need that space where we would have a courtyard, we have a green space, we have a garden area, we have a balcony. So post pandemic, I think the design related to architecture or interior design, it would be more of talking about the open spaces whenever the new designs would come in. So that's something which I think would be the future.
Okay, all right. Do you have anything to say on that to our students also who are working from, I mean, studying from home and watching all these webinars? How can they improve their skills of designing?
Well, but what I would recommend them is just keep learning a lot of softwares, because nowadays technology is coming up really far. Like every single day, there's a new software which comes in the market, and we are always behind. So this is the right time. Start exploring your hobbies, whatever you wanted to do, but you never got an opportunity to do it. You have all the time in the world to research. You have Google in your mobile, on your laptop. So this is the right time when they could just explore and develop whatever they always wanted to.
Okay, Harsh, thanks for that. Now we get into our next segment, fun questions. We started. You have to be quick here. Okay. So your favorite project that you worked on till date?
Awakening by the Pool.
Okay. Okay. On a project, what would you prefer? Creative freedom or budget freedom? Your take.
Creative freedom.
Okay. Which architect, artist, or designer is it whose work or words inspires you the most?
Sergei Makhno.
Okay.
That's a Russian architect.
Okay. So, okay. Structure design or interior design? What is your favorite?
Confusing. It's both. Like I can't choose one.
Okay. Or interior doesn't work without structure? And is it like that?
Yeah, I mean, you need a skeleton to wear your clothes.
Okay. Uh, three design studios work you look up to. Name them.
uh, Sergei Makhno architect. Uh,
Okay.
you mean globally, right?
Yeah, anything in national, domestic, global. Global is
Yeah,
better.
Mad,
So people,
of course. Mad
okay.
Architects, Sergei
Okay.
Makhno Architects,
Okay.
and I definitely look up to RSP as a firm, as a corporate.
All right.
So the
That
firms
was
where I worked with was the right hit on target.
beautiful. Okay. The last one here. What is your next goal?
Ah, difficult one. So currently, the next goal is something where we would like to develop our own products. Like we are entering a phase where we are developing our own products and letting it out in the market. So that's our goal. Like uh, as a local firm, we would like to raise our toast to India by developing those products.
Mhm. Okay, Harsh, now we are getting into the audience's questions. I've already received one, so we'll start with that. Meanwhile, I'll just go through a chat room and pick few. There has been an ongoing debate regarding the gap between academics and practice. Did you even face this or deal with this gap?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question in a way, because whenever we are in our academics, we tend to forget the practical know-how of how something would work out. Like we always know or we always learn how to draw, but then we need that hands-on approach of how do we like if we are designing say a chair, just a single chair, but when we don't know the practical know-how of how the joinery would work on, or what the texture of the chair would be. So I feel we always need to know the practical side of any product, and that's something which is always missing in academics right now. And I think there are a lot of universities which are coping up with that.
Okay. So, you have any suggestions like how may the students prepare themselves for this practice?
So firstly, just choose which part of design you would like to work on. And I would say, even if you have a small break or a vacation, just try to work with that firm, try to approach that firm, try to work with the type of language which you would always want to, try to search the things which you always wanted to make, and always have a lot of curiosity of knowing how do we make this thing. Like even if there's this nice picture frame, a nice photo frame which you like, which is a three-dimensional art, but always try to ask questions to yourself, like how is this made, or how what colors, what texture, what figures are required to make this, or what material is required to make this. So that is what I would address to all the students, whether it's interior design, architecture, fashion designing, anything.
Okay. Okay, so I'm taking now, let's start taking questions from the audiences. I'm just picking randomly because there are too many of them. So first one, can you please explain us what is your color palette, since it looks so pleasing, monochrome and vibrant colors? Has it always been uh, experimental? Thanks for your question, Purva. Please go ahead, Ash.
Yeah, hi Purva. So basically, it depends what type of project we are working on. So if we are designing, like we designed this cafe named Fresco, so we made it very vibrant, because we want a person when he drops in, when he comes in, when he opens the door, it has to be vibrant. It can't be very neutral. But at the same time, when you look at a cafe which we designed in Baroda named Modernist Coffee, it's a monochromatic color theme with exposed brick, because that cafe has a different aspect altogether. We want to invite people to work there, so it's a co-working space along with the cafe. So it depends on the type of mood we want to create for our audience or our clients. So that's always client oriented, whom we want to invite or whom we don't want to invite. So depends.
Okay, Meenal is asking, as I saw that you use raw material in your design, so what all thoughts bring you to use raw materials as essential aspects?
uh, so basically, use it's not like we always want to use raw materials, but I feel that firstly, when we talk about the cost, we already have those materials which has so many varied textures, so many varied colors, which we are always missing on, and we are trying to buy those expensive products outside. So and secondly, using those earthen materials is always better for everyone. It's long lasting, it's durable, and that is the only reason why we use those raw materials. It's nothing specific that we don't want to use the other products or something. So that is the main idea of using raw materials.
Abhishek is asking, while designing an interior, we have many ideas. So sometimes what happens is we end up bringing a lot of things happening together. So how do you balance it all? That how does it the source wants and can work? So basically, he's trying to
uh,
know how do you balance it all? When you have so much of it.
so yeah, it's so basically, even when a client comes in, it's always very chaotic. So it's like you have to stand with a filter and let them filter the thoughts. So you need to set some parameters whenever you design, like what's the design language, then what's the material palette, what's the essence, or what type of public or what type of clients or what type of people you want to invite, for how long do you want those people to sit there or stand there or work there. So when you as I told, when you ask yourselves a lot of questions, when you state your questions, that is the time you will come to know like what filter you want to keep in those chaotic school of thought which you have.
Harsh, As Asma is asking, what are your thoughts or style of working? Is there any specific style of working? Sorry, that's Ashna. Ashna is asking, yeah, what are your
uh,
thoughts or style of working? In the is there any specific style of working?
so basically, I think we did go through this question. It's like our style is very chaotic. We don't have a particular style of working, but we invite all the thoughts that come in from the client. We listen to all the thoughts that come in from the clients, from our team members, and then we start filtering all of them. We start asking ourselves questions, and we do have a school of thought that the lesser the materials, the better the design. We try to apply the minimalist approach when it comes to couple of our projects, and sometimes when it goes sometimes we even go opposite to it, like as I told, there are a couple of projects where we have used vibrant colors and a lot of materials, but that depends on the type of mood which we want to create. But nowadays we are trying to restrict ourselves from using a lot of materials. We try to stick to like 3 materials at a time.
Okay, so now Avni Agarwal has a question. Sir, as you had mentioned one quote by David Allen Coe, which nurtures cross boundaries itself. So can you just give a short brief on that relating to your work? Yeah, I
Sorry,
also
I
read
didn't
on
get you.
that. David, she has, she said, as you had mentioned one quote by David Allen, uh, which nurtures cross boundaries itself. So can you just give a short brief on that relating to your work? The David Allen Co, which talks about creativity. I think you know the quote.
So basically, I think I still didn't get the question yet. But what I would say is we try to be self-sufficient when it comes to designing a space. So by self-sufficient, what I mean is at times when we use a material which has wastage out of it, we try to use those wastage in a way that it stays in the overall like we try to use those wastage that it's applied in the interiors as well at a couple of places. So we are a self-sufficient design firm right now. We try to stick to like we try to reduce the wastage on site. So whatever material comes in at site, we try to restrict that material in a way that only say 30% is the wastage of the overall material. Earlier it was like 50% of the material is wasted.
Okay.
So yeah, but I still don't know if I answered that question correctly.
Yeah, because it's too long. So basically, she was trying to ask, can you just give a short brief on that relating to your work?
Hello, Ali, I can't see you. I can't hear you. Hello.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are. Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, you
Okay.
are audible.
So basically, she was trying to ask, can you just give a short brief on that relating to your work, so that uh, David Allen quote and the quote that is by David Allen basically, and the cross boundaries. So you know the idea is that
Hello. Hello.
Am I
Hi, Ali. I'm not able to hear
am
you.
I audible? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, we move to the next question. Do you think it would be good idea to speak to the councils that develop home to see if they can run a pilot scheme on of universal homes?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Ali, the sound quality is really very choppy. I'm not able to hear you properly.
Zoom.
Connectivity issue. Ali is having connectivity issue.
Okay, am I audible? I'm trying from the other device now.
Yeah. Yeah, now I can see you.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, Harsh, the question was, I'll have to now. Okay, we'll take that again. What are the things you have to take care while designing?
So firstly, whenever you are in the practical field and whenever you are designing, just take care that you don't take too much of your time, because clients are always like, whenever a client comes in, they are always short of time. So you always need to act quick. You need to provide them options. Never stick to one single design. Never fall in love with your design. You always need to let go with your design at times. So it's not like your university where you have your own design and you can just stick to it and you can develop that design and produce that design in the end. So you need to let go at a couple of times and develop a new school of thought.
What are the things you have to take care while designing?
Sorry, Ali. I think uh, there is some connectivity issue again.
One second, Harsh. Trying to fix it now. Yeah, Harsh.
Yeah,
Better now.
I can hear you. I can't see you, but that's fine. Hello. Hello.
Ali, you are having a connectivity issue.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Harsh, sorry, there was some technical problem.
No problem.
Uh, was there any case where you had exceeded the limit of client budget? This is a question by Ankita Sharma.
Yeah, there has been couple of such instances wherein we have exceeded the client's budget. But then in the end, it's always like if we are able to convince what we wanted to design, or if we design something which impresses the client at times, you need to be smart at times. You can't always stick to the budget, because there are things where it's also in not our hands. And when a client comes in and he says, "Okay, मुझे ये tile नहीं, मुझे ये tile चाहिए," with this like a 30 rupees extra compared to the old tile. So uh, we have exceeded at times, but then in the end, we were able to manage and convince our client that the end result is what matters the most.
Okay.
But we have exceeded.
Sarvan Suthar is asking, where do you see furniture industry after Corona is over as comparing to China, who's killing local manufacturing in India? I think he's trying to say that, China was a major producer of this mass products, furniture.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even I used to go to China to buy furniture because it was a one point solution for all the designers. But I think there's a huge shift of market nowadays, and India is going to be the next global market for furniture as well. Like there are really a lot of small scale industries in Jodhpur, and there are a lot of designers in India, within India itself, who were earlier trying to design a lot of products but were not able to cater to a mass because of China. But now India has a huge potential to to different kinds of market, not only furniture but a lot of different markets.
According to you, should we go with the trend of modern design or should we go with traditional only, rather on both aspects? This is a question by Avni.
Should we go on? Sorry, I didn't get you.
As in, she's probably, according to you, should we go with the trend of modern design or should we go with traditional only, rather on both the aspects?
So this is a very personal choice which everyone makes for themselves. But yeah, I would, if it was me, I would always go for a traditional approach, because if it was my home, I would go for a traditional approach. If it was a cafe or a restaurant or an office, I would go for a modern approach, because uh, in the end, you need to stay at home. You don't want to stay in a hotel. So a home should feel with the like a home with those traditional approach.
Biggest challenges to be faced by interiors post lockdown? Question by Fanny.
I think, yeah, I mean, that's something which even all of us are facing right now. But the biggest challenge would be to wait until the sites are up and running. The second biggest challenge would be to wait until client has their budget, and they would start the spending for their interiors, because there is a huge slowdown in all the aspects, all the market right now. So this would be a major challenge, to just sit back and try to grab the opportunity to learn. And when we get the time, we just boost up all the designs which we have gathered, or which we have collected till date, or we have kept in our mind. So that would be the biggest challenge right now.
Okay. So now this is a second last question from the audiences that I'm taking. Uh, Dhara is asking, do you think it would be a good idea to speak the councils that develop home to see if they can run a pilot scheme of universal homes? She's saying, I believe we should be doing more to homes than making it look appealing. What is your take
Definitely.
on that?
Definitely. I think that's what I wanted to address when I was talking about the different segments of designing. Like as I told earlier, that there are different segments whom we have to cater when we design. So when
Mhm.
we are talking about a middle class or a lower middle class segment, the interior design is secondary. The more important aspect of design is the architecture, and the more important aspect of designing is the the space planning within itself. So definitely there should be such kind of pilot scheme which should launch, and I would like I think as a designer I would be really happy to participate in such kind of opportunity if I get one.
Okay, Purva is asking, would you still go to China for furnitures?
No, no, I don't think so. Not
All
anymore.
right. So, well, we are taking one more question because this was too funny. I couldn't stop taking it. A project once completed under the supervision of an interior designer. Is he responsible for damage or any contamination or any other related issues? Or what are the tenures if you provide the service?
So basically, I would just like to clear that question up that we are interior designers or we are architects who are purely doing architecture design consultancy. So basically, we are a design consultancy firm. We are not a turnkey design firm where we go to the site, we buy the plywood or we buy anything. So in case of maintenance, the responsible person would be an intermediate agency which comes in between an interior designer and the client, which is called the PMC agency, who are the project management coordinators or the supervisors. So uh, if there is any fault in the design, then we are the ones who are liable. But if not, then we are not at fault at such a thing. So I think that's what the question was about. Like we are not liable about the end product. We can just suggest them the good products to be, but then if they use a inferior products, or if in case the supervisor uses an inferior products, then that is something which has to be looked upon, not the design or not the designer.
Harsh, now your last words to our creative students of Parul Institute of Design and Architecture Department from Parul University, and also other audiences who are listening to you right now. Your last words, Harsh.
First of all, thanks Ali for bringing me up here, and I would like to thank Parul University for giving me this opportunity. What I would say to all the creative young birds up here is just keep exploring and keep designing. Keep design as a word. Don't limit it to interior design, or don't limit it to architecture design, or don't limit it to fashion design. So design has a lot of opportunity. Just keep exploring, keep collaborating, keep learning different fields of design, and you won't know where you will end up designing something which is out of the box by collaborating with different design fields. So yeah, thank you.
Harsh, it was thank you very much for joining at Parul Institute of Design at Parul University. It was pleasure having you on our show, and we wish you all the very best. And once the lockdown is over, we would like to invite you in our campus. Please be come down. We'll update you on
Definitely.
that. And yes, all the very best for your future too.
Thank you.
So that's all for the day. We have more guests coming up soon. For that, for more updation, please follow us on Facebook and like our page on Instagram, a handle on Instagram, Parul University. Thank you all. This is your host, Ali Ahmad Sheikh, saying bye. Take care.